Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too, do not adjust your television screens. Don't change the channel. Stick here, because even though I said this is an FCM52, FCM50T video on the box, you're looking at an FV4202. And what do those two things have in common in terms of tanks? There's actually quite a bit when you get down to it. And it's more about the way I play the FV4202 at times. And it really resonated with me when I started driving the FCM50T again. And I spent about an hour on it. And I realised this reminds me a lot of driving the FV4202. And not for the obvious reasons, because it doesn't have HESH for starters. And it's not a medium tank like the FV is. Like it's a reasonably mobile medium, but the FV is really bloody nippy, and it's got fantastic mobility and, you know, I think better armor than the FCM50T, which is saying something. But it's got a play style where you have to show a fair bit of care and respect for the big tanks that you're coming up against, and you've got to be a little bit cautious and set yourself up sometimes as second line support and sometimes as an aggressive play. But for the most part, you're really setting your shots up and setting up your targets a little bit further out than the heavy tank kind of style or a Russian medium kind of style. And that's cool because, I mean, this, you can see I'm driving the FV4202. I ended up doing 3,000 damage in this game and we only lost 2 or 3 tanks while I was doing it. But I waited and waited and waited, and I got a couple of easy shots in, and then I moved in and took a few more easy shots, and then after that I just cleaned up with HESH into the side of a Jagdtiger. So let's get the FCM50T in here and have a little chat about how it does the same thing for me anyway, and it's a playstyle I really like using. You can see here we're on the flank, and they've got 3 mediums, we've got 4 mediums. It's a supremacy map. Just looking at targets, I'm behind a bush, I'm waiting to see if anyone overcommits, if anyone gives me a shot. Hello Dorothy, and we're back. I'm checking my left side, making sure that no one can get shots at me from over there. I'm going to angle up again, because the FCM50T doesn't have a whole lot of armor. It just doesn't. The armor on the hull and the turret is reasonable for a medium tank. It's nothing for a heavy tank, which I actually believe it was a heavy tank in PC. You can bounce shots, and in fact I do get some shots bounced, and it does have well, not trollish turret, but it's an awkward turret to hit. It's not massive, it's quite long and narrow as a turret goes, and you've got 8 degrees of gun depression, and it's not super quick either, but it's reasonable in terms of mobility, and your terrain resistance stats aren't great, and your hit points per ton aren't great, but you've got an 1100 horsepower engine, so you're probably thinking, wow, that must really get out there, and it does get out there in a reasonable manner. Like, for instance, the Ascent 1 is the tank that it reminds me of horsepower-wise. It's even stronger than that. It's got 1100 versus Ascent 1's 825, and it's got much the same terrain stats, a slightly worse on medium and soft, and ever so slightly better on hard terrain. And your traverse is a little bit better than the Ascent 1 too. So you can see you've got a tank you've got to be a bit thoughtful with, and that's exactly how I played it. And it's fun. I actually enjoyed it. I took it to good spots. I gave it every opportunity to use its gun, which is not a bad weapon. It's .326 dispersion. It's certainly no Ascent 1's gun, which is .299, and that's probably the other tank that most resonates with me as similar to this. It doesn't quite have the gun handling of the Ascent 1, nor the ability to pen with its AP rounds as well. Like, not bad. 212 is not bad pen, especially for a premium tank, and 2236 DPM at tier 8 is actually right in line with the better tier 8 DPM mediums. But you can see here, this is another game where I ended up doing, I think, 2100 damage and got the win and got a couple of kills, and I just rolled into it nice and slowly. I used the team. I looked at the team that we had. I realized we were probably going to get the hill if they went the hill, and then I had a lot of big heavies who could move up there and try and take the hill back from us, and I might get some side shots, and I just worked side shots, got 4 side shots or something like that there, got a spot on their TDs down the back, and then I moved along on that left-hand flank and started putting shots in and cleaning up again, and just took another 1,000 or so easy damage and, you know, finished up. And that's how I play this tank. I mean, it's so straightforward. It can get in trouble if it has to brawl, but again, you know, it kind of reminds me of the M48 pattern. It's a bit of a jack of all trades and master of none. But when you focus on this tank, it's delightful to drive. It's big and buxom. It gets its shots out there. It does enough damage to keep you honest, and it earns credits. I mean, you would have seen before I did 2,029 damage. I didn't have to use any premium ammo because you've got 212 millimeters of pen on your AP, and I made 60 odd thousand credits. How can you not like that as a premium credit grinder? I mean, especially if you're sick of driving big, angry Russian type tanks with huge bloody alpha guns and horrible aim times, and if you're looking for something a little bit different, something that you can actually throw around a little bit more, but you don't want to go hog wild like with a 54 mod 1, this is actually not a bad choice. I wouldn't call it overpowered. I wouldn't call it really, really strong, but I wouldn't call it bad either. It's really not. And don't believe Snake. If he gets in the chat comments here and in the section on YouTube and starts carrying on around, don't buy it. Bushka says it's solid. That means it's terrible. He's telling fibs on this one. This one is actually a reasonable tank. 8 degrees of gun depression is good. Look at this. 10 degrees would be better. And we get in some situations with this tank where that's one thing that kind of lets it down a little bit. The gun handling can be a little bit just randomly, and I only drove it really solidly for about 2 hours, and the gun handling was pretty solid all throughout, so I give it the benefit of the doubt, but every once in a while, just anecdotally, it would just go and do weird stuff. Check out this 49 damage ammo rack. What a waste of an ammo rack. Good work. Thanks very much. But every once in a while, it will just absolutely do the business for you, which is pretty much awesome. And those games are great. And you can see here, I'm just taking really careful, a very thoughtful approach to the game. Look at the shots like that. I mean, it does those for you when you start expecting them to be regular things, and then it's just not quite good enough to do them all the time. And I'm going to put another stupid one in here on this Indian as he goes away, getting the very top of his hatch. You start thinking that it's something really special, and it's not quite there, but it's good anyway. And you can see how I'm playing it. And I really like this old digital camo as well, which I grabbed ages ago. I just thought that Indian was going to push up again, and I wanted to make sure that I was right in the water so he could smash me when he did. I'm such a clown. That Pershing right there, I'm looking for the kill shot, and you know, it's hit 2 incredible shots, so that shot should be no worries at all. Yeah, no. See what I mean? That was the way the gun treated me all day. It was really, really good, and then it wasn't. It looks nice. It's a smashing tank, and the upper glacis is actually probably a little bit stronger than I give it credit for. You've probably seen throughout the course of this video so far, I've bounced quite a few shots, and mobility-wise, it's not a really fast medium. You can see it's not really cranking out. 1100 horsepower means that it gets up there fairly quick, and you can get up for 50 kilometers an hour, but it doesn't. But still, I mean, it's got enough mobility and enough sneaky armor that you can get the job done, and it has some glorious moments gun handling wise. I'm going to show you a couple more sequences. This is where I found it to be probably the most likely to bounce, was when you were coming around the corner like a Russian med, and you could angle up that really, really steep upper glacis and get an auto bounce zone rather than relying on the pure physical numbers. I also found that because it was quite a chunky tank and quite tall, sometimes the gun depression was hard to bring to bear. It's a lot easier on smaller, slimmer tanks to get gun depression down, like the Comet and such. You can see you've really got to be careful with the way you get the gun down. But that's that upper glacis I'm talking about there with the T69. He's trying to fire AP rounds or his standard rounds, not his promo. And for that, and look at that, I mean, the gun's handling beautifully there. And the tank is really, really smooth. I'm actually going to say I quite enjoyed it. If I had the tank for free on my main account, I would play it. It would not be my favourite tier 8 medium, premium medium at all. But it gets more bounces than it deserves. It really does. But the gun also has these games like this where it just constantly whacks and does the business. So, and that's hard to be disappointed in. So that's it. That's the FCM50T. Plenty to recommend it. Reasonable tank, quite fun. A bit of a cross between a heavy and a medium. Really careful when you drive it. Like, it's not going to be a carry tank in the way that a 54 mod 1 or a 59 is, where you push in very, very hard and you are very aggressive and you try to brawl all the time. It's more of a thoughtful tank where you look for people in your team, like this Dracula, for instance, who's making use of his communication. And from FOW, Dave, good work, Dave Arjar. And he's asked for help, and I say, yep, no worries, going to give you help. And there you go, we bounce off another FCM50T. So much stuff coming up too, by the way, guys. I'm going to be in Bovington. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope there's some of you guys out there turning up at Tank Fest in Bovington this year. It should be awesome fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to meet a heap of the patrons. I'm going to meet a heap of YouTube subscribers. I believe I may be on the Wargaming stand for a meet and greet or something at some point. I can't imagine anyone will want to come up and say g'day to me. But, I mean, we're not talking about Brad Pitt here. Mate, I break more mirrors than I look at. But anyway, if you see me, stick your hand up and say g'day and make your presence felt. Really appreciate the support from everyone here on channel, and I can't wait to get over to the UK. There's a lot more streams going on, so make sure you look out for the streams on channel. I've been doing some streams lately with Snake and all the boys, and it's been a great barrel of laughs. As always, if you want to sponsor the channel, Patreon's right there. Make sure you make the most of it. And until next time, look after your families and stay safe on the battlefield. I'll let you see the FCM50T finish this one up. Bye-bye.